final hours of transfer deadline day are always filled with chaos, drama, and unexpected twists, but nothing could have prepared the football world for the bombshell Arsenal dropped. With seconds left on the clock, the Gunners pulled off one of the most jaw-dropping coups in modern football history, the signing of Rodrygo Goes from Real Madrid for a reported £50 million. For years, Arsenal have been accused of being too cautious in the transfer market. For years, fans have begged for boldness. On this night, in a move nobody saw coming, they got exactly that. Arsenal didn't just sign a player, they tore up the script, sent shockwaves through Europe, and declared themselves ready for war in the Premier League title race. Deadline day has given us unforgettable stories: Carlos Tevez and Javier Mascherano to West Ham in 2006, Dimitar Berbatov's last-minute move to Manchester United in 2008, and Gareth Bale's record-breaking switch to Real Madrid in 2013. But Arsenal's last-gasp swoop for Rodrygo stands tall among the greatest. The deal was shrouded in secrecy. Whispers circulated that Arsenal were working on something behind the scenes, but even the most connected insiders had no clue it was Rodrygo. Real Madrid were adamant the Brazilian would not leave. Arsenal, however, persisted. In a whirlwind of negotiations, documents were exchanged, medicals were fast-tracked, and just as the clock ticked toward midnight, the announcement was made: Rodrygo is a Gunner. Arsenal manager Mikel Arteta has been quietly sculpting his side into one of the most dynamic teams in Europe. His philosophy is clear: fast, fearless, and fluid football. But with Manchester City standing tall as the dominant force in English football, Arsenal needed an X factor. Rodrygo is exactly that. At 24 years old, he combines experience at the highest level with the hunger of a player still climbing toward his peak. His blistering pace, dazzling footwork, and clinical finishing make him one of the most feared wingers in the game. At Real Madrid, he built a reputation for delivering in the biggest moments: Champions League knockout ties, El Clásicos, and last-minute winners. Now, paired with Bukayo Saka on the right and Gabriel Jesus through the middle, Arsenal boast an attacking trident that could rival any in world football. Add the creativity of Martin Ødegaard and the power of Declan Rice, and Arteta's vision of building a juggernaut capable of dethroning Pep Guardiola suddenly looks frighteningly real. As the news broke, Arsenal fans around the globe erupted. Social media went into meltdown, timelines flooded with memes, chants, and videos celebrating the coup. At the Emirates, hundreds gathered outside the stadium to sing "London is Red" into the night sky. One fan summed it up perfectly: "We asked for ambition, and they gave us Rodrygo." This is not just a transfer, this is a new chapter in Arsenal history. Rivals, however, were far less amused. Manchester United fans mocked their club's inability to act decisively in the market. Chelsea supporters, despite spending heavily in recent windows, were left scratching their heads. And Manchester City fans, usually calm under Guardiola's dominance, expressed unease at the thought of a rejuvenated Arsenal coming for their crown. The Spanish giants are not often caught off guard, but this deal left them exposed. With Kylian Mbappé heavily linked to Madrid in recent months, the club had no intention of letting Rodrygo go. Yet the irresistible lure of Arsenal's project, combined with Arteta's persuasive vision and the player's desire for a new challenge, tipped the scales. Madrid fans are furious, many accusing the club of mismanagement. Losing a young, world-class forward on deadline day is a nightmare scenario, and questions will now be asked of Florentino Perez and his transfer strategy. The arrival of Rodrygo instantly changes the dynamics of the Premier League. Arsenal, who pushed Manchester City to the brink last season, now have a forward line to match anyone. Pundits have already begun recalculating their predictions. Some now argue Arsenal are not just challengers, but outright favourites. Others point out that while depth will still be tested across a long season, this signing gives Arteta the firepower to win big games. City, meanwhile, will not underestimate the threat. Guardiola himself once described Rodrygo as a nightmare for defenders. Now he'll have to plan for the Brazilian twice a season in Arsenal colours. This move isn't just about the Premier League. It's about Europe. Arsenal are back in the Champions League, and the signing of Rodrygo is a statement of intent to the continent's elite. Bayern Munich, Paris Saint-Germain, Barcelona, and even Real Madrid, they all know Arsenal are no longer the underdogs. For years, Arsenal were mocked for their lack of ambition on the European stage. Now, they've reminded everyone of their stature. London is red, and Europe is trembling. This wasn't just a transfer, it was a turning point. Arsenal, once accused of being too small to attract or keep world-class talent, have just stolen one of Real Madrid's crown jewels. It's a symbol of growth, power, and resurgence. Rodrygo himself summed it up best in his first words as a Gunner: "I came here because I believe in the project, I believe in the manager, and I believe Arsenal can win everything. I'm ready to fight for titles." Football thrives on drama, but rarely does a single signing carry this much weight. Arsenal have not just signed Rodrygo, they have reshaped the Premier League landscape. In one electrifying deadline day twist, Arsenal declared war on Manchester City, reignited the title race, and put Europe on notice. The Gunners didn't just sign a superstar, they signed a future. And as the dust settles, one thing is clear: the balance of power in football has shifted, and Arsenal are leading the charge.